That Toy Story entry just getting a little high on and just copping one in the door from the 85 overall, like it's just turned him around and sent him straight up into the wall. Warlock there getting a decent amount of damage on the 85 car. The Toy Story car looking a little second hand as well. So see if they get back. He's just copped a little bit of help there from Daniel Stevens in the 3 car. Let's turn him right round, baby, right round. He's going to head up if we stay clear of everyone else, but certainly enough damage on that truck to very quickly usher in our 3rd caution period. As they say, cautions breed cautions. It's definitely what we're seeing here tonight. So Tristan
absolutely flying out there, Ryan, but he doesn't quite have enough laps to make to the end of this race with Luke here out in the lead with a dominant lead at the moment of 3.5 seconds over Stephen Williams, who are around about the same distance from Ryan Jones at this stage.
Hamish Gallagher and Chris Purnell as well battling away at 4-6, but as we are on the final lap, we'll stick with our race leader Luke Trahere, who is 3/4 of a lap away from taking what I believe is his 2nd ever win in the Truck Series here. I may be wrong on that, I'm going very, very much off memory.
Pretty sure we've had Trahere with a win in the Truck Series last year. I'm trying to think back to it now, but yeah, Trahere is one of those drivers that has come in with the Crank Esports team and done a fantastic job.
Congratulations to him on taking his 2nd win ever in the ANZCAR Truck Series, our 4th different winner in 4 rounds so far this year. Steve Williams, cracking drive from him up into 2nd place, and that will maintain his position at the top of our championship. And Ryan Jones coming home with all the heat, and he is finishing in 3rd. Riley Curtis 4th, Ruben Phelps 5th. We've had Purnell, Gallagher, Priest, Finlay and Nigel Patton rounding out our top 10 tonight. It was again another relatively clean run. We did have a few cautions in a row, but once again the standard of driving in this series continues to be as it should be for what effectively is the development series before the main game. So as Trahere's celebrations there just get a little bit interrupted by someone down on the infield in the grass. But he's certainly going to write out his name on the pavement here at Atlanta, and a well-deserved victory with a good drive from Trahere.
Yeah, it's one of those things, it's a matter of time for Trahere. He's had some great races and he is just improving under the Virtual Motorsport mentor scheme, run of course by Chris Purnell. And it's one of those drivers that is just coming on leaps and bounds, and up in the Cup Series as well, one of those drivers that is definitely knocking on the door for a victory. An absolute brilliant drive from Luke Trahere there.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM Ecast presenting the ANZCAR Truck Series live from Bristol this evening for round 5 of what so far has been an extremely competitive season. 4 races so far, 4 different race winners, a very mixed grid of a very mixed podium, I should say, of drivers as well. Last week, just on the highlights package there at the start of the show, Luke Traher taking out his maiden win for the ANZCAR Truck Series last week at Atlanta, with Steve Williams and Ryan Jones taking out the top 3 positions to make up the podium that was. And we head this week to Bristol. Certainly a different set of affairs here, with a much shorter track, a little bit harder on tyres as well. And I'm with Carl Withy. Carl, expecting to see a very entertaining race tonight as we just get towards the back end of practice.
Yeah, good evening, Stuart, and good evening, viewers. Yes, here at Bristol, the last great Coliseum, of course, and soon to become a dirt track for the Cup cars, which is going to be very interesting. But we're out here on the concrete tonight. Very, very tough track on those front tyres, especially the front right tyre tends to be very tricky to get right here. Very high banking as well, very fast track. That's the other thing you forget about Bristol. It doesn't look like much. It's only about 80, about 3/4 of a kilometre long. But it is a very high-speed track. They're getting up to around about 210, 220 kilometers per hour here.
Yeah, so we're going to see, I think as you mentioned in the pre-race here, some high wear on the right front tyre, looking for incident-free, pitting around about lap 40. We've got a slightly longer lap count than usual here tonight, with around about 130 lap race distance. And it's going to be a competitive one. We've seen pretty much, I think, albeit it's our first full season broadcasting the Truck Series, from what I've read in the groups, the most competitive, not only ANZCAR Truck season to date in ANZCAR's long history, but certainly the most competitive season across all of the categories in ANZCAR history, which is fantastic to see for the category.
Yeah, absolutely, Stuart. It's been very, very competitive this season. The only real person that has done multiple victories is in the ARCA Series, Development Series, and that's Lachlan Urquio. In the trucks, we've had single victors so far this season, and Ryan Jones taking out the second Cup win this season for himself, being the only 2-time winner in the Cups. It has been incredibly competitive, but we've seen a lot of new faces up there as well, which is great and what we love seeing. A lot of seasoned drivers as well, getting some good results and getting some good positions in the championship. But a lot of new drivers coming in and getting some good results and giving themselves some good position for the upcoming season as well.
It's interesting you mentioned that about seasoned drivers. One notable absence tonight, Chris Purnell, one of our race winners in this Truck Series, missing from proceedings tonight. Of course, his teammate Luke Traher taking out last week, as we see a couple of cars jumping over the fence there towards the end of practice. Always where it gets exciting. So that will have championship implications. Chris Purnell currently sitting second on the championship standings behind Stephen Williams, who has been extraordinarily consistent across the first 4 races this season.
Yeah, very much so. Stephen Williams has been showing that consistency and that sort of wily skill that he has. He's been having a good run this season, especially here in the trucks as well. Very, very good results. He's had 3 top 5 finishes so far this season. A win, of course, as well. So absolute stellar results from him. In third place is Ruben Phelps, who's been having a stellar start to the year and start to his ANZCAR career, really. Getting up there in the top 3 so far this year. Very, very good result for one of the rookies.
I think it's really interesting to note about Ruben as well is his sort of deep race form. So it might not feature too much in the start to mid-section of a race, but he always manages to be there and thereabouts right at the end, of course, which is where it counts. Including last week, where he jumped into third place with only a handful of laps to go, and that seems to be a formula for him. Those Activity Hub Barley cars seem to be really strong towards the end of the race, so keep an eye out for him throughout this one as we jump into qualifying. It is solo qualifying for the drivers, so one car out on track, albeit they're all out on track at the same time. They all run a track by themselves. Generally jump on board here with first out of the blocks. It looks like it's going to be Christopher Finlay who's going to lead us out tonight. In fact, my apologies, it will be Aaron Dillon, in fact, in a Simboys car. Simboys have been pretty competitive so far, not quite able to dominate the top 3, but always there or thereabouts as Aaron will take us around for our first full lap in qualifying. You're looking for green or purple sectors, green being best sector for that driver, purple being fastest of the qualifying session, and that is what we're looking for. So let's stick on board here and see who it is who we get up to the front of the field. I think qualifying is going to be quite important.
Yeah, that's it. You want to try and get up to rub the high spots on this track. You don't want to be too far down the field. Dropping back a little bit can pay off later during the race, but when you're starting a little bit high, you're going to avoid those first couple of lap issues that can sometimes happen. Dwayne Priest jumping up there at the moment, up in the top position. I was just watching Ruben Phelps a moment ago, and he just had a big spin on his first lap, so he's going to have to put in a good lap to get up there. Luckily, on these kind of tracks, usually your first lap is your best lap because your tyres are pretty... They do go off quite quickly here, so sometimes that first lap is going to be your very best lap, and you won't get much more than that out of it. This track also has that slight narrowing configuration as well. You sort of can see it's got a very sort of wide back section, the turns 3 and 4, and then the turns 1 and 2 are a little bit narrower. So that can throw you out as well, because it's not a complete sort of oval, this circuit. It has a little bit of narrowing to it as well.
Absolutely. So we'll see what comes. We've got 3 minutes to go. We've had about half the field go through their 2 laps. Still some notable absence. Steve Williams yet to qualify. We've also got Michael Skurlock, Luke Trahere, Aidan Schultz, of course, another team change there that we'll talk about in a few moments. He's done his laps, but not actually managed to put in a qualifying lap. So that means he's going to be starting towards the rear of the field. So still a few drivers to get through this qualifying session, as we've got just over 2.5 minutes to go here.
Yeah, it's still not over for sure, but you can sort of see how easy it is to lose those cars on this track. It is one of those things that is very frustrating. You tend to want to run a slightly higher line here than most tracks. It sort of pays dividends because of the way the banking works, but you do get a bit of marbling up there, and that can cause you some serious issues. As got the 88 out there now of Matt Knight coming around for his first lap, seeing what he can set. Just saw with Ruben Phelps as well, he actually had another little bite into the wall, so not a good start for him, but later in the races, that's when he comes alive.
Yeah, absolutely. So just had a little bit of movement in the pack. Daniel Stevens popping up into 3rd place with a 14.97 as his last fastest lap. We do have an 14.81 by Dwayne Priest as fastest so far this evening.
Yeah, that was a very good lap from Dwayne. He must have got the qualifying cloud, so to speak, come over just at the right time. Michael Skurlock heading out on the track right now, so he's heading off for his first run. Not seeing many others jumping out there. A few people sort of just holding back a little bit, not heading out too quickly, maybe wanting to start towards the back of the grid, which, as I say, can be a very good option on these kind of tracks because you tend to get a few issues earlier in the runs.
Yeah, indeed. As you say, even the small differences like the Michael Skurlock jumps up there into 3rd, small differences like the cloud cover can make all the difference in your pace. Luke Trahere out on track as well. He's on his first lap. Michael Skurlock's completed his run, currently sitting in 3rd place. So we jump on board here.
Luke Trahere bringing the car up into 4th position just behind his teammate, so good qualifying laps there for Skurlock and Trahere to get close to each other. They're going to be quite happy about that, locking out the 2nd row as it currently stands. Got Stephen Williams out on track as well at the moment, and he's just gone through to set a very good time just behind Dwayne Priest, who set an absolutely blistering pace on that lap. So great lap there from Dwayne Priest, good to see from him. Stephen Williams, though, is going to be was trying to get that, but couldn't quite beat it. So he's going to be there in 2nd place.
We're about to make the change across to the grid, so let's get that done. When it comes up on screen, we'll let you know who is where as we get started for round 5 of ANZCAR Truck. Brought to you on FGM eCast. I'll bring that up on screen for you now. The overlay is just playing a little bit of havoc for us there. But we'll get into it no matter. Row 1, we've got Dwayne Priest, Steve Williams off the front row. Good result for Steve Williams there. Current series leader, Troy Davison, Michael Skurlock off row 2. We've got Luke Trahere and Daniel Stevens, my apologies, off row 3, Riley Curtis and Murray Howell off row 4, Travis Buckley, Matty Raymond off row 5 with Chris Lethberg and Christopher Finlay off row 6. So we continue down through this field. Aaron Hatton, Aaron Dillon, row 7, Nigel Patton, Nathan Rollock off row 8. We've got Mick Taylor and Tristan Koch off row 9. Tom Huggan, a new one into the series with Carl Hoffman off row 10. We've got Brody Masters and Jack Childs off row 11. Kate Donnelly and Siri Stall, Norm Clark off row 12. And then as we get towards the back of the field, it is Aaron Major, Ruben Phelps. Watch for Ruben to make a big move through the field tonight. We've got Hamish Gallagher, Matty Knight, followed by Aidan Schultz, another one to keep an eye on, Todd Maxfield. And rounding out our grid is Billy Hickey.
Yeah, surprised to see Hamish Gallagher not setting a lap out there, but he's one to keep an eye on for the evening. A very fast driver, very quick pace from him. It's a great job from Dwayne Priest getting the pole position. It's been, I'm trying to think back the last time I saw Dwayne that high up on the qualifying, but I think that might be his first truck pole position. So congratulations to Dwayne Priest on that one. Good place to start from the front row here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and Steve Williams, they're getting the run in late and getting on that front row. Michael Skurlock, another one yet to take out a race win, other than obviously that big win at Daytona, but in the truck series, still yet to take out his win here. Not a first-time driver in the series, but certainly for the year. And he again starts in that front 4 position, so got outright lap pace here. Luke Trujillo, last week's race winner, off position 5. So buckle in, folks. It's going to be an interesting one as we get set for 135 laps here at Bristol. And they're going to go quick. And
they are indeed.
Looking forward to it.
One of the quick things I'd mention as well is you might see a few drivers rolling the dice, trying to stick out as long as they can on those tyres, try and make it to a 1-stop. A few drivers will probably go in for the 2-stop strategy. There's going to be a mix of strategies here tonight, which is going to make things very interesting. The other big thing as well is, of course, you do have the split pit lane as well, so the drivers towards the back of the grid from around about 28th down will be stopping in the second pit lane as well, and that can really throw you out on a track like this.
Absolutely, so that's something to watch out for as well. Hopefully not anyone copying any pit lane penalties on their way in, but sounding like it could be likely if the drivers aren't careful on their way in. So we'll pop the track map up on the screen there. Thanks to AJ Insurance Services for joining us as we're about to get underway here at Bristol. Start's going to be very important here. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of congestion. Early race call. Carl, who are you calling for the win tonight?
I'm looking at Stephen Williams tonight. He's looking strong. He's been strong all season.
Steve Williams. I'm backing Luke Trujillo here for second in a row. First multiple race winner. Let's see what we go as we get underway. Steve Williams gets a really good start on the outside there ahead of Dwayne Priest. Dwayne Priest obviously still down on that inside row. It is very competitive at the front here as Michael Skurlock goes with him. Troy Davison gets a good start as well as Daniel Stevens, Luke Trujillo, Murray Howell, Riley Curtis, Matty Raymond and Travis Buckley rounding out your top 10 as we get this thing underway. I'm trying to move the camera back a little bit for you so you can see what's going on because she's very tight at the front.
Absolutely. It's one of those tracks where cameras can be quite tricky to get in the right place. It can be a bit tricky to watch the cars sometimes, even for us. But great start for Stephen Williams there. He's managed to keep the car up on that high line, which is where I think he wants to be. Just running out the slightly higher line will be a little bit easier on the tyres. We'll give him a little bit of a longer stint on this first section of the race, depending on cautions.
And as you said, depending on cautions, the big wild card for the race this evening, these shorter tracks, sub 1 mile, generally tend to lead to more, I would say, of the bigger pile-ups, not as much time between cars. So let's hope we don't have too many of those tonight. The series has been really, really strong with green flag running for us so far this season.
Yeah, we've seen some great drives this season and some really good saves as well, actually. That's one of the big things is it's very easy to lose a car. It's very hard to save one, and we see some great saves this year. Good to see the green flag running because it's not easy on a track like this. You will hear drivers talk about, well, you're just turning, there's just the one way, just turning left constantly. There's not much to do on that. And it is a very tricky place to run. It's a very different style of racing to your track racing. You are running very close to each other as well, and just getting that speed working is very important. as the front have started to break away a little bit. Stephen Williams starting to get a good lead, about half a second over Dwayne Priest at the moment.
Absolutely. Still congested a little bit further back. So we've got a lead pack of around about 5 cars here. Leader of this second pack, Luke Trahere, with Murray Howell and Riley Curtis around about a second off the front. And then they've got a good solid gap back to Travis Buckley, Christopher Finlay, Aaron Tillman behind them. So as you can see there in the background of the picture, just 2 or 3 small groups there. We've got car down on the infield there is car number 88, which is that of Matty Knight down on the apron.
Yeah, it looks like he's had a big hit on his nose. I was also going to mention another big thing about this kind of track is you will get lapped cars coming up pretty quickly. So Matty Knight just getting caught on the outside a little bit. He's come down by the looks of it and caught somebody just on the nose and gone into the wall. Big heavy hit for Matt Knight there. An early retirement for him. His engine's going to be pretty dead, unfortunately, but the caution didn't come out.
Which is what we like to see. It means we continue to go green flag racing, 12 laps in to the 135 lap ANZCAR race here at Bristol. Thanks to AJ Insurance Services and the rest of our partners on the stream. Virtual Motorsport Mentor, Aftershock, PC, your rig, your choice. So I thought this one might be the one where we see a fair amount of damage, as we already have a pack of lapped cars being approached by Steve Williams. So this is going to cause a bit of an issue throughout the evening as well. Obviously, as we all know, there is no blue flag in NASCAR racing, truck racing, oval track racing of any sort. So these guys will be fighting for their place to make sure they stay on the lead lap. And so far, Steve Williams making relatively light work.
Comes out.
Oh, yeah, and we've got an incident there as well on the caution flag. As we did, Steve Williams there just getting slowed up and really high into... I didn't catch the number of the car there, but you can see damage on the right-hand front corner of Steve Williams' car, which happened just as we got onto the caution flag.
Yeah, he got up into Jack Childs of the 999 there. Looked like somebody was just braking in front of Stephen Williams there. Somebody snatched the brake a little bit in front of him. I think it was the 158 maybe, or somebody actually mid-track actually. It was somebody who had that incident was just getting out of the way. A few cars were just trying to avoid that incident, and in doing so, Stephen Williams has just gone up into Jack Childs there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him, so that damage hopefully not too severe. So we head back live. Expect to see maybe a few cars jump into pit lane. It's on lap 16 here, pit window opening at around about lap 40, so not a bad time for a splash and dash. We've got a couple of cars in so far. Gallagher, Major, Phelps, Patton, Cock, Hoffmans, so there's a few jumping in. Have a keep
I think
it on.
a lot of those are going to be just for some repairs.
Repair work.
So that caution came out with Chris Lepper just going up into the wall. He spun it round and then got caught up with somebody who was trying to brake out the way, that got caught up with that one. He did jump off the track though, but yeah, Stephen Williams just got caught in that a little bit.
Unfortunate here. Let's hope Steve Williams continues without any drama. So far staying out on track.
Now, one of the good things about these short tracks is when you do get damage like that, as long as it doesn't damage the suspension, it's not too bad. So he should be relatively okay. You don't really have to worry about the aero wash of these cars on a track this short. It's not really a big issue. It's not like a super speedway where that will affect you lots. Big thing is, though, if it has caused a little bit of damage to that front geometry on that suspension, being the right front as well, it's going to cause a lot of wear. And this could shorten Stephen Williams' runs by a good 5 to 10 laps over the rest of the field if he does have damage.
Of course, is huge in a race like this, so we'll wait and see how that plays out.
It's going to make his night a lot more interesting, that's for sure. You've got Skurlock and Dwayne Priest right there ready to jump onto the back of him if he does have problems. Now, the biggest issue from here is when you're getting back onto racing pace with a damaged car, because you sort of have to get your confidence back sometimes. Stephen Williams has been doing this for a long time now and he's very experienced with that kind of thing. But you may just see him taking it a little bit easy on that first lap or two, just to make sure he can understand what the car's doing, if there is any pull, if there is any issues with the car, and then he'll start running the pace to the ultimate advantage he can once he's gotten used to that little bit of quirk to the front.
Just waiting here for the lights to go out on the pace truck. Just a notification that Norm Clark had an issue. Just look back at it now. I think it may well have been a glitch on our reporting screen because nothing untoward happening there.
I think he got a little bit of a tap in the rear at some stage, maybe during the slowdown, because he's got a bit of damage on the rear of that car. So that might well have been the notification that we got, but it's one of those that's going to probably be a bit unseen because a bit tricky to find little bits of damage as we go back to green flag racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
The pace truck pulls down onto the infield. Steve Williams leads them away. We've got the 777 and Dwayne Priest behind him with Michael Skurlock in the 350 Crank Esports entry behind him. So our top three, albeit has changed slightly, still the same top three cars. Troy Davison right behind him, Daniel Stevenson there as well. So the caution period bunching the cars up as you would naturally expect. So it's going to be interesting to see how they spread again. Of course, Stephen Williams getting a fantastic jump at the start of this race. He'll be looking to build that gap again despite that small amount of damage sustained just as we went into the caution period on the right hand front corner of his truck.
Yeah, that's it. He didn't actually wait to find out the pace of that car. He has just taken advantage of it straight away. He's just gone straight back to racing pace and taken that car back to sort of as fast as he can take it right there. So good job from Stephen Williams there, just not worrying about the damage, not thinking about it at all. Dwayne Priest doing a good job behind him, just sticking behind him, taking a slightly different line, slightly higher line than Stephen Williams at the moment. And that's going to be good for the duration of this stint. So this should help nurse his tyres a little bit. So what I expect to see is Stephen Williams just start pulling away a little bit early in this stint, but as it goes on a bit longer, people like Dwayne Priest and Skurlock coming up to him.
Sort of having that break again of those three packs. Got the front three guys, Troy Davis and Daniel Stevens, just treading water in a group of their own, and then followed by Luke Trahere, Riley Curtis, Murray Howell in that third pack. This early on though, not necessarily that much of an issue for them to worry about.
And we've got a moment at the back, big incident with Nathan Roebuck involved in that one. We have a big moment as one of the cars got turned around in that little bit of pack there. Trying to figure out who that was, sorry.
So it was the 778 of Travis Buckley that was the instigator, I believe, in that one. Let's go back, we'll give you a replay of that one and see what we can find out. So we're just coming back here now, and they've just got really close together. It looks like Travis Buckley just keeping his place there in that high line.
Yeah, he's just scraped it up a little bit high there and just lost some speed, and unfortunately just behind him the rest of the cars got a little bit of extra pace on him and have come up really fast and didn't quite get their closing speeds worked out in time, unfortunately, and that has taken out a few big cars in that little pack there. Quite a few notable drivers in that little group have got some serious damage now.
Yes, as you said, he got really high in the line, and that's meant that he's ended up just got that a little bit early here. There it is there, and as you say, there's that pace difference, and he's just got a little bit of a bump there from, I think it looks like the 73 car, and they've all just ended up going around, bouncing off the wall. The Travis Buckley's truck bounced off the wall, came back out onto the track, and unfortunately ended up punching a couple of cars up into the high line where everyone was trying to avoid everything that was going on. So 6 or 7 cars involved in that incident, and that 778 car of Travis Buckley looking very second hand, sitting there in pit lane as we have our second caution of the evening.
Yeah, something you're going to see here at Bristol. It's one of those tracks similar to sort of Dover in these short tracks in their nature. You can get very unlucky in an incident like that and lose your engine quite quickly, and it's very frustrating. It is one of those tracks where there is not much runoff either. You've got those two big concrete walls either side of the track with a couple of safer barriers around them, but when you go into them at those speeds, they do cause a lot of damage to the trucks. when you get caught up to it on a straight like that, there's not much you can do to avoid it, unfortunately, and a lot of cars do end up getting caught up in that sort of incident.
So back under caution here. It's an unusual tale for us so far this season.
Yeah, a few more cautions than we've had for the previous races this year. It's sort of one of those things you kind of expected on the super speedways, and often on these short tracks it can be a little bit of carnage in the early parts of the race, unfortunately, as everybody's jostling for position, trying to get in the right spot. Once they settle down, you get a good long green stint. Everybody seems to settle out a little bit. It only takes one mistake here, and it is one of those tracks, because you are having to use the brakes and the accelerator so much, the mistake is easy to happen as well.
Yes, Steve Williams will be hoping for a little bit more green track running so he can really push on with that dominance that he's had early on in this race. But he's got some work to do again as the pace truck pulls off down onto the infield. And we will have green, green, green again. And it's Steve Williams away from Dwayne Priest. Michael Skurlock got a really good restart as well there. So he's going to be putting the pressure on Dwayne Priest, albeit a little bit slow there out of the turn. So, in fact, it's Dwayne Priest who's putting the pressure onto Steve Williams on this restart. Troy Davison, Daniel Stevens, Riley Curtis, Luke Trujillo, Murray Howe. We've got Aaron Dillon and Christopher Finlay.
And we've got
caution again.
We've got cars around in the background. Hamish Gallagher caught up in that one. Looks like he's got caught with a side swipe mid-corner. He's just been caught in the middle there. May have just made contact with the 158, gone up into the wall. That's turned him around in front of Donnelly, and he has gone spinning around. Not much he could do there, but a few cars caught up in that incident.
Looks like Mick Taylor involved there as well.
Yeah, Mick Taylor there getting caught up in that as well, and he's going to have to really do a lot to get that car getting back in the right direction. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage, but that will have cost him a lot of places, and probably quite a bit of damage on the front right suspension again.
Yeah, so it's just a little door-to-door bump there. You can see the 13 of Hamish Gallagher, and then the 158 of Mick Taylor just getting absolutely launched as a result of that incident. And then you've got plenty of other cars involved around it. I'll bring this to you again from another angle. As you can see Hamish Gallagher there getting down onto the inside. But the 158 of Mick Taylor sitting across the track, causing incident as well, as the pace truck just was getting settled. Had to come straight back out again, and we are back under our third caution of the race. So haven't quite managed to get this one out of the stall so far. 3 caution periods in a very short succession. So far not seeing any of the leaders jumping into pit lane. 37 laps into this one.
What this is going to do for that lead pack is give them the opportunity to extend those tyres to a further point in this race. And what they're going to try and do is get to a stage where they can make it possibly to the end with no more stops, which is very possible now. We've had so many laps under caution. They're not going to be putting the car under as much pressure and under as much push as they would be on normal laps. So they should have a fairly good chance to get some good running in here. What they're going to want is first a nice long green period now, so they can take advantage of it. Hopefully, the tricky part is, of course, it does take about 2 to 3 laps to get the tyres back up to temperature and back up to grip as well after it's been under a caution. One of the other things, you lose tyre pressure and things like that, and that affects you, and that's why we do often see cautions breeding cautions, unfortunately, in this style of racing, where you do have a quite a long green period and you get caution after caution after caution, just because those tyres have gone down a little bit in pressure, gone down in temperature, and it takes a few laps to get them back up there. Especially as we are transitioning into night here as well, the temperature of the track will be going down quite significantly.
All things for the drivers to consider, but certainly we would benefit from a good green flag period of running here. Let's get this underway.
That's it, and usually you'll find drivers settle down a little bit after the first 40, 50 laps, and then start getting into a good pace. They get into a good rhythm of the track, and they feel much more comfortable. don't quite get as many of those cautions. So hopefully that's what we're going to see tonight.
So we're just waiting now. Lights are out on the pace truck. So it's not going to be too far at all for us to get this one back underway. And here we go, we're back up and running. Let's look for some green flag periods here. There's again a really good run from Dwayne Priest. He's been lively on the restarts. Steve Williams managing to get a good gap as well. But Dwayne Priest, the last 2 occasions, has run with him quite well.
Yeah, we've seen this from Steve Williams. He does like to fill out the gap, but we saw Dwayne Priest running that high line. He wasn't quite pushing as hard as Stephen Williams earlier in this race, so he might have a little bit more left in that car now than Stephen Williams. So expect to see Stephen Williams just dropping a little bit of pace to Dwayne Priest here, and Dwayne Priest just to start gaining on him as these laps go on. You can see Stephen Williams has changed his driving style a little bit. He's going higher up the line now than he was earlier in this race, just because those tyres are going to be a little bit less grippy. They're going to be a little bit less easy to use. So he's going to want to try and use that sort of higher line. You can see Dwayne Priest able to use a couple of different lines, same as Skurlock behind him and Troy Davidson.
So it is still Williams, Priest and Skurlock as your top 3.
As they are already coming up to a car that's going to come a lap down.
Oh, that's Ruben Phelps, is it?
I think it might be, yeah, Ruben Phelps, who had a very big incident earlier on. He's 13 laps down at the moment, but getting back out there, which is an important thing to do because you never know what's going to happen in a race like this. You might be 13 laps down, but you would still get a fairly decent finishing position.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I was going to say championship implications there as well. We did mention earlier in the broadcast that Ruben Phelps was one of those drivers who's done really well late in races and finds himself quite significantly featuring so far in our points total in the championship. So he will want to keep contending as much as he can tonight. Down there on the low line, just Marcus Skurlock going past him. But Dwayne Priest really putting the pressure on Steve Williams so far after the restart at the front of this pack. In fact, at the front of the field, indeed.
Yeah, that's it. As I said, one of the things to watch out for Priest on this restart is he should have slightly better tyres coming into this. No damage to the car from what I can see as well. So he should be in a good position as this race goes on longer and longer green. He should be able to just keep the car a little bit better for the long run pace. I think Stephen Williams has still got the short run pace there though, so he's going to want a sort of relatively short stint, maybe a caution in about 10-15 laps time to keep himself really locked into the front of this pack. But just behind him, we've got Skurlock now starting to catch up to these two.
Yeah, I was just keeping a note on that, is that Marcus Skurlock there just getting a little bit underneath Dwayne Priest as well. In fact, he's got a good run on him here. Just into and out. Drivers taking different lines out of the corner.
We'll see the drivers starting to experiment a little bit as the laps go on. Who's looked after their tyres, you can tell more because they'll use a much lower line with the drivers are starting to run a little bit low on the old adhesion front on those tyres. The rubber starts to fall away a little bit and you start losing that grip. One of the things you've got to be careful of though is the marbles that tend to gather a little bit on the top side of the track and right on the very bottom of the track as well. Obviously being such a steep bank track, you tend to get a lot of marbles just on the infield there, so can be quite loose down there if you get caught up down there by accident.
And as you say that, we just jump on board with Michael Skurlock there, just getting off the gas a little bit. You can see the rubbish on the track as well, so just experimenting with the lines. Got real high there up close to the wall.
Yeah, getting a great view of a great battle up the front here at the moment. There are battles all the way through the pack at the moment. Bit hard to know exactly the best place to look, but the front is giving us a brilliant little fight here and exactly what we expect on these short tracks, of course. It's a very different driving style and you have to drive a little bit differently to other circuits, as Dwayne Priest just touches the fence there a little bit, takes a little nibble out the fence. That's going to destabilize the car as they go down the straight a little bit, and that should give Skurlock a little bit of a run here coming into the corner. He's going to try and get up underneath Dwayne Priest. Doesn't quite make it this time around, but he's putting pressure on him.
To jump back just then to have a look at Murray Howell, Kay Donnelly battling away. They've got Brody Masters, Christopher Finlay right behind them as well. Kay Donnelly, of course, one of our early performers in this series, so he's making his way through and doing a good job of it so far. Very, very much putting this pack under pressure as he now takes to the front of it.
Yeah, he's having a good run and getting another good run this in the truck series. We saw him take out the first win of the season in Daytona, of course. Just made a bit of a deep breath and squirrel noise as Stephen Williams came up on one of the cars a lap down and got a little bit boxed in there, and that's giving the other two the opportunity to get a little bit closer, a little bit further back actually. At the Troy Davidson just getting a little bit...
Getting very wild.
Yeah, getting a very, very close moment as the car that was a lap down just almost gets into him as well.
Certainly would have been a grip the steering wheel moment for him there. Looked like he was about to be taken out for sure, but he's managing to get through clean. It's a good solid pack here, 7 cars. Which is our pack trailing our lead 3. We've got Raymond, Stevens, Davidson, Curtis, Dillon and Trahair. Positions 9 through 4 before you head up to the front with Skurlock, Williams and Priest equally battling it out. Williams looks like he has managed to break away a little bit again after being slowed up by some lap traffic. He's just about to come up on another 3, and he's going to make his way past them as best he can. See there as well, Priest is running a little bit high, almost getting up into the door of one of these lap cars, and Skurlock following him right behind. So short track always makes it interesting when we get plenty of green flag running. Plenty of traffic is always going to play into the equation as well. As down on the bottom of the screen there, Jack Childs ducks into pit lane.
Yeah, it's a big thing of who can run in a pack and who can do well overtaking it as well. You know, that's a really big skill to have on this kind of track. You know, you do see who's got the best, some of the best overtaking ability and who can struggle a little bit, and the leaders tend to do very well in those lap traffic moments. The biggest issue is, though, is you're always racing against other people that are racing as well, so you've got to be considerate of their race when you're the leader, as much as you... Oh, as Steve
big touch on the wall there.
As he's just trying to get around the 777 there, that's going to give Skurlock a chance to get a run on him as well. So it was Priest and Stephen Williams there, both fighting for position. But you can see now Stephen Williams is starting to struggle a little bit right on that very high side. Priest has still got the ability to keep low. But you can just see Stephen Williams just starting to lose a little bit of that grip on the exit of the corners.
Yeah, he just managed to get a little high there. He's under plenty of pressure from Dwayne Priest, so Skurlock's gone low. He's just trying to find the line there. He's got some company with him as well. He's trying to go through with Priest, but not quite managing to do that. So 83 of Matty Raymond moves up on him into 3rd place.
That's the big thing there. Matty Raymond has managed to catch the leaders in all of that traffic. It's given him the opportunity to get right up there and start fighting for the battle of the lead of this race. So you can just see how much time those guys lost as they were just getting through those lap cars and now started fighting each other as well. This is going to help Daniel Stevens start to close in on them a little bit. It will take a few laps. He's about 3.5 seconds down on the leader at the moment. But the more they fight, the closer he's going to get.
So you've got a pack of around about 10 cars coming past the camera now. And of course, only 4 of those, dare I say, sorry, 5 of those on in that lead pack. The rest of them lap traffic, so we've got some congestion out there at the moment.
We have, and you can just see Daniel, Stephen Williams, just getting caught up pretty badly on the bottom line at the moment. He wants to get up and past that car. The cars on the low line can't really do much because they're busy racing each other. So, you know, that's the thing of, as I said, you have to be really, really keeping your eyes open on other people's races. It's also up to those drivers that are getting lapped to keep an eye on the leaders as well, to know that the leader is coming up on them. They're just getting past Kay Donnelly right now, who's dropped back a little bit from that earlier battle. So you can see they've almost lapped half the field now. They've lapped up to around about P14. Is that Dwayne Priest getting up into the wall? Dwayne Priest getting a big moment into the wall there and getting a lot of damage on the front of that car. Unable to hook it off. He managed to get it off just in time not to lose too much time. But Kate Donnelly getting slightly sideways as well. He's managed to catch it.
Just a slight overreaction there on my behalf. Just caught the glimpse of it in the background as it changed cameras, and I thought he was off into concrete country, but just managing to pull that one back together, Kate Donnelly. So no caution period here as we continue to ride with Dwayne Priest, who's trying to make his way back up to the front of this one. He's just jumped in behind Stephen Williams again. It is in fact Michael Skurlock leading this race for the first time this evening, ahead of Matty Raymond, who, as you quite rightly pointed out, Carl, benefited from that lap traffic, making his way up from that second pack into second place now. His teammate there, unfortunately, lap traffic. And the other thing is we've had movement in our second pack. Luke Trahere now leading that up into fifth place.
Yeah, I think Nathan Rollock's going to be on the not on the Christmas card list for Stephen Williams this year. Stephen Williams got boxed in behind him during that battle and did take a bit of damage to the front of that car again. So again, a little bit more damage to the front of the Stephen Williams car, and he lost quite a lot of time to Michael Skurlock and Matthew Raymond as Stephen Williams back into the wall again. Really starting to struggle out there. But up the front, Matty Raymond is starting to put the pressure on Skurlock right now for the lead of the race. They are battling very hard.
We'll be seeing pit stops coming into this very soon as well, even with all the caution periods. I anticipate to see some of the guys in this lead pack jumping into pit lane very soon. Probably only got about a dozen cars that haven't stopped already, so that will impact on things as well in terms of the race order.
Well, interestingly, on my screen, I've got Matty Raymond actually having stopped, so he's the first car in that lead pack to have taken a stop. He's been out there for about 50 laps, whereas the lead's been out there for the full 83 laps. So he came in around about lap 20, I'd say.
28, spot on. Sorry, Carl, yes, you're spot on. Lap 28, Matty Raymond stopped in, so he is, I would say now, effectively leader of this race.
Yeah, that's going to be good for him. Brody Masters and Tom Higgin as well, they have stopped for tyres.
Yes.
So there are a few drivers out there that could be in some good positions at the moment as they come in for green flag stops. You're going to lose a lot of time here if you stop on the green, though. So they're all going to be hoping for a caution for that. Yeah,
particularly those who have already stopped will be definitely hoping this one stays green until the end.
Yeah, expect to see drivers only throwing on the right side as well, not worrying about the rest of the tyres. They'll probably only just do the outside tyres. Just a little bit further back, Stephen Williams is still trying to get through that the lapped traffic. He's got Dwayne Priest behind him. Luke Trahere has caught up to that group now. So Trahere now is starting to battle his way up there. And he's got a good run on Dwayne Priest this time. He's going to get a good run on the inside here, Trahere. He's going to try and take it down the inside of Dwayne Priest. Will he be able to get it to stick, though? That's the question.
Some slow traffic there down on the apron. That's always concerning. He's still battling away there. Didn't quite managed to close the door.
Stephen Williams going up into the wall again, just catching that tarmac, that concrete again on the outside. It's going to cost him a little bit of speed. This could give Trahere the chance to get down underneath him. Trahere's going to be struggling a little bit with his tyres now as well, don't forget, but he's got a very clean-looking car at the moment.
As he now moves up into effective third position, so as you say, that lap traffic has really not done Steve Williams too many favours at all this evening. So he'll be ruining the impact that's had on his race so far, as equally Dwayne Priest looks like he's going to get the job done. So Steve Williams now back down into fifth position.
And I'd say a lot of that is to do with that first caution incident where Stephen Williams got quite a bit of damage on the front right of that car. As I said, when that happened, I expect to see him struggling a little bit as the race goes on. Up at the front there, it's Matthew Raymond versus Michael Skurlock for the lead at the moment. They are really battling hard. A few cars have come out on fresh tyres, so you've got an interesting mix now of the leaders out there being passed by the lapped cars because they just don't have the pace to keep those lapped cars behind them.
But say as you speak, even Daniel Stevens showing exactly that difference. He's now absolutely honking along, and he's underneath Michael Skurlock. So right in the traffic here, Skurlock just getting boxed in by the Mark 1 and Simboys Racing guys, and almost there, getting taken out. In fact, as well, it's very, very close door-to-door racing there. The three of Daniel Stevens trying to punch a hole through the traffic, not quite able to do so, so Skurlock can go through with him. And in fact, it's the 93 car there of, I'm just missing the driver's name, of Riley Curtis, my apologies, who also was just holding up the progression of these faster guys. So Skurlock there impacted by that. Matty Raymond 3/10 behind him, and Luke Trahere a further 2.5 seconds back. So this is allowing the field to compress quite a bit as these faster lap cars get out and try and make their way past the leaders of the race.
That's it, and it's one of the valid tactic to sort of hold up the guys on those pressure tyres a little bit, try and stop their progress through the field a little bit. And if you can block them off a little bit, as Matty Raymond takes another look on Skurlock's inside right here. Skurlock getting so close to the wall there, he was millimetres perfect. If he had a wing mirror on that car, it would not be there anymore. But a valid choice to do, because if you can block those cars and keep those cars a little bit further behind you and slow them down a little bit, it's going to be their tyres dropping off a little bit quicker, and also sort of getting towards the plateau where they don't really lose too much time or gain too much time, so they lose the advantage of those fresh tyres. So if you can make that happen, you can then take advantage of it for your pit stop a little later in the race.
Troy Davison there, the next car on the list, just getting passed by Skurlock. And the Triple 8 car there, I believe it was, maybe Triple 5 car even, of Aaron Major, looking very pacey indeed down on that inside line.
Yeah, one of those cars that's come in for fresh tyres. I think that might be Jack Childs there. 23 laps down, got those repairs done to his car and got those fresh tyres on, but you can just see the difference of pace, even with a very beaten up car right there compared to a very clean looking car at Skurlock. It's just those fresh tyres make a big difference as Skurlock has to lift out of it as it gets a bit high there. But he's still managing to set some decent times right now. So Skurlock still putting in some good pace as it stands as we hit lap 103.
So he'll be holding on as long as possible to make sure that he doesn't need to try and avoid pitting under green flags, but may not have any choice, of course. This one continues to develop.
Might be able to eke out. It depends on the fuel mileage, of course, but if you can eke it out a little bit, you might be able to make it without even showing up in pit lane, without even seeing your Skurlock just clips the wall, I think. Without even seeing your pit crew today, especially under those caution flags we had, because that's going to save some fuel for you. So they might just have enough fuel to make it to the very end here, but it's whether those guys on the fresh tyres can sort of start catching them up. And well, if there's caution, that's going to really throw that option out the window for them all.
So plenty still to develop in tonight. We've got 28 laps to go before we finish this one out. 27 laps now at Bristol, round 5.
And so I was just going to say, Stuart, we only have 5 cars on the lead lap as it stands.
Yeah, which is Skurlock, Raymond, Trahere, Priest and Williams. Of course, Raymond, the only one of those who has pitted, and certainly therefore the last one to pit lap 28. And he is all over the back of Michael Skurlock. Oh, and his big punch in the corner too.
That was devastating for Skurlock. Devastating for Skurlock there. Matthew Raymond had nowhere he could go there at all. Skurlock just getting up into the wall there. That's really going to cost him. That's given Matthew Raymond the lead of this race. And this is good news for Matthew Raymond. If it remains green from here on in, he's looking very good at the moment.
Yeah, and just with that tap on the wall, came back down the track a little bit. Matty Raymond just punching in the left-hand rear corner of the Crank Esports entry as well. So double damage to Skurlock's car right-hand front that you can see as he just comes past the camera. Looking a little bit second-hand, and the left-hand rear quarter, we'll be doing some shopping for that as well. Doesn't look like it's affected Matty Raymond too much at all. So it is Matty Raymond, Michael Skurlock with Luke Traher as our top 3 drivers so far this evening. Got 23 to go here at Bristol, and it is Matty Raymond who also made the most recent stop, so has the fresher tyres on that entry.
That's it, fresh tyres, and does not have to worry about fuel right here. That's the other thing, of course, he should not have to worry about fuel from everybody else. The other drivers might be just getting a little bit light on the tank towards the end of their run, but I think Matty Raymond should be fine to get to the end of this one. Luke Traher started to catch up at some vast rate on North, almost drivers ahead of him. He's closing the gap on his teammate now, who's got a very wounded car. So your call of Traher a little bit earlier.
May well be it. We've got a heavy amount of traffic as well just here. Leaders trying to get through it, and that's allowed Traher to catch up as well. Just going past Schultz there. A couple of my apologies, in fact that was not Schultz, it was Ruben Phelps who Traher is just going underneath now. Got Mick Taylor there in the 158 entry as well, so a little bit of lap traffic here. And that has really bunched up these front 3 of Raymond, Skurlock and Traher.
Very much so. It's giving Skurlock the chance to get back on there. Aaron
Let's just
Dillon
say,
coming in.
Traher, they're just eating Skurlock alive.
Traher looks very comfortable on the inside line at the moment. He can take a much tighter line, and he's and just behind us, a car going sideways. Managed to catch it though. Very, very close to a big incident there. But they stayed green and stayed under the green there. I was going to say Aaron Dillon, he had to come in to do a drive-through for a black flag just from getting attacked from behind a incident limit reach there. But Luke Traher now absolutely gobbling up Matthew Raymond's lead. He's right on the back of that car right now.
I think that might have been Nathan Rawlock that you saw in the background there, just having a little bit of a slide. And he is into pit lane virtually. And it looks like it might be Traher here who's going to take the lead. He's got a good run on Matty Raymond. Raymond able to defend though and keep it for another lap. As you say, Traher very quick down on that inside line. In fact, there he goes there through into the lead with 14 laps to go. Closes the door. Oh, Raymond gets very high there. I didn't see him touch the wall, but he would have been all bar a cone of paint off it. And that has slowed him down tremendously and allowed Luke Traher to open up a gap.
Yeah, I think those guys are really starting to struggle a bit with their tyres now as well. Traher, he was just a bit off the pace at the start of this race. Wasn't really pushing the car that hard, but he's been saving it for this last moment of the race. We hit 124, 125. He's really been keeping that car clean and tidy for the end stage of this race, and it is paying off for him at the moment, as he's already pulled out around a half-second lead over Matthew Raymond.
And Murray Howell, very pacey down there as well, obviously out on some newer rubber. He pitted last on lap 100, so very much got the pace, as you can see him go through there. Coming off the back of Hamish Gallagher here, Luke Traher as well. Unfortunately, Gallagher with a very early, well, not early, but earlier on in the race anyway, some damage to that car, so not in contention this evening.
Yeah, getting caught up in that incident, unfortunately, for Hamish Gallagher out there. Big shame. And as I say, it's one of the unfortunate things about motorsport sometimes is it is absolutely not your fault, but it does come back and bite you a little bit sometimes. Luck goes both ways, sadly.
So I've got a little bit more. It's the story of the night. I keep saying it. Some more lap traffic coming up here. Very much is about traffic management as much as anything else. As he comes up onto the back of Stephen Williams, which wouldn't be one of the names we would have been expecting to be calling out as a car that was about to be lapped this evening. But that is very much the case. Luke Traher goes past him now, so we have 4 cars on the lead lap. It is Traher, Raymond, Skurlock and Priest only remaining on the lead lap of this race. We've got 7 laps to go here. And track management is very, very messy. It's very unnerving as the lead driver. In fact, the lead 3 drivers just be hoping that no one does anything silly and destroys their night for them, as Daniel Stevens involved in that pack as well.
Well, we've got to say the good part now is if the caution flag does fly, those sort of the top 4 are pretty much locked into the fights now. Stephen Williams being 1 lap down, he will get the wave out as the caution does come out.
Oh, you've called it. Riley Curtis there, involved in an incident. What that means is, as you say, we're going to have 4 cars plus Stephen Williams, and we're going to have a green-white, if I've called it correctly, flag where we'll have 3 laps to go, and it will be a 3-lap race to the end of this one. Traher, Raymond, Skurlock, Priest and Williams, the drivers contending it. They'll be fine for fuel. Tyres will cool off a little bit. And you've got to say, Matty Raymond, with the last of the stops, probably the driver favourite to win it from here.
Well, that's it. It's I would say Matty Raymond would be a favourite, but Luke Traher has kept that car so clean, so well. I think he's going to be the one to watch out for. Will any of them take a jaunt down the pit lane? That's the big question, because right now, if I'm Michael Skurlock, Dwayne Priest, I'm going to be coming into the pit lane. And yes, Michael Skurlock has come into pit road. So Skurlock has come into pit lane. He's taking the gamble. He's going to chuck some fresh tyres on there, and that could be the race-winning advantage for Skurlock right now.
Huge tank slap there for Riley Curtis. He just came up the back of one of the Simboys cars. Couldn't quite see the number there. I think it may have been the 23, perhaps, of Troy Davison. Right up on the back of him, way too much heat, and then just jammed on the anchors and ended up parking it into the wall at the top of the circuit. So very much a solo accident there, but that's why our caution flag is out. And we're going to have 3 laps to run once the pace truck ducks off the track. It's been a really good run from Luke Traher, a well-managed race so far. He's got all the work to do, having done the hard work to build a lead. At the moment, Matty Raymond behind him, Skurlock having jumped into pit lane. He's got fresh rubber on that car. No issues of fuel here amongst our top 4 drivers. Steve Williams will get the lucky dog wave around, so he will join on the lead lap with this pack. Of course, he'll have a whole heap of traffic to contend with, but it's going to be a very, very fast finish to this race at Bristol this evening.
Luke Traher is really going to earn his money here. He's going to have to really, really, really drive as hard as he's ever driven in his life out there. He is looking like he's got some serious speed out there, but he's going to have 2 very fast cars behind him in that of Michael Skurlock, Dwayne Priest, because they're going to be on those fresh tyres. Matty Raymond stayed out, so he's taking a bit of a roll of the dice, so he's going to try and stay out there. He's going to be right behind Traher on the restart, of course, so could be in for some contention, but the one to watch out for, I think, is going to be Skurlock here, because he's going to be on those fresh tyres. He's going to be on the inside line behind Traher, and he's going to have the benefit of having nice fresh tyres, but we'll be able to get him up to temperature. That's going to be the big question. He should be okay, but you're just going to see how much those fresh tyres can affect the car once Skurlock gets back under green flag racing.
Of course, cool track temperatures, so it will be a question of how quickly they will come up to heat and give him that advantage that they should do. It could well be that it's the last lap. Just depends on how strong a restart Traher gets here. He's going to have to be careful of Matty Raymond on the restart as well. Raymond's restarts have been reasonably strong this evening, so it's all to do here. It's anyone's race amongst Traher, Raymond, Skurlock, Priest and Williams. Of course, Priest jumping into pit lane as well, so he's on fresh rubber too. So they're the 2 that have got the benefit of the stops. Raymond and Luke Traher have got the benefit of the clean cars as we are about to go underway again here. It is Traher who's got away, he's got a gap, but it is Matty Raymond, Michael Skurlock as well who are there with him. They've gone with him. Look at the difference in pace on Skurlock's car there as he gets right underneath Matty Raymond and very quickly makes up the gap. Traher here exposed as well. It's going to be Skurlock. Oh, Skurlock's got a huge slide on. Is he going to be able to catch it? I don't think he is. Oh, no, he does. Just manages to catch it as we head round on the final lap. That's probably got him done and dusted. It's going to give Trahair the win. Huge slide there from Skurlock. Manages to catch it. And it is going to be Luke Trahair, who's going to be our first driver to take multiple wins for the season. Congratulations, Luke Trahair. Michael Skurlock, my goodness me, what a underpants moment for him. But just managing to catch it and take second place. And we've got Matty Raymond come home in third. What a finish.
What a brilliant strategy call for Matty Raymond there. That paid off for him. Skurlock really just took advantage of those fresh tyres, but couldn't make it work quite well for him. But really, the star of that race, you've got to say, Luke Trahair, just keeping that car perfect out there, not taking a single pit stop, not coming into pit lane at all tonight, and taking his second victory in the Truck Series this year. We may have last time thought maybe this wasn't his first win, but we know this definitely isn't his first. Luke Trahair taking the double here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Fantastic, and as I said, our first multiple race winner of the season in the truck event. And as you quite rightly said, this is most certainly not his first win, but is his second win in this series, second on the trot. So congratulations to Luke Trahair from the Crank Esports team, and that will continue to catapult him up the drivers' standings. And Bristol, he'll be happy with this one. A race well run. Probably not his best qualifying effort, but certainly managing the race well and truly to his advantage.
Yeah, I've got to stop questioning you, Stuart. You called that one perfectly. Just a brilliant way to keep that car alive. And it was one of those things, just keeping the car clean and not racing it too hard at the beginning of that race that really secured it for Trahair. Yeah,
absolutely. And Skurlock there with an amazing catch. He got very, very loose coming out of the corner and just managed to snake his way down the straight. And the car just happened to brake the right way going into the next corner, and he caught it as he went into second place. So really, really good result for him and for Matty Raymond as well. A race well run. Steve Williams ending up in fifth. Dwayne Preece in fourth position. So nothing short of what we expected from a sub-mile track here at Bristol. Some really close running. Certainly plenty of cautions as we expected, and that last caution 5 laps out from the end throwing a little spanner in the works, but not altering the outcome too much, as we've got the top 3 podium getters in our booth with us now, just bringing them on board. And I do have Luke Trahair, Michael Skurlock and Matty Raymond with Carl and myself in the booth. Congratulations, guys. Race well run. Exciting finish for us here at Bristol. Luke, 2 on the trot. Your first 2 wins in ANZCAR track. And I hate to say it, mate, but again, we called it. We said you were going to win tonight, and here you are on top spot again. Congratulations.
You called it again for me, mate, did you?
We did indeed.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. That was a good race. Obviously, a few cautions, but that's Bristol, hey. Everything felt good. I don't have heaps of experience at Bristol, but it was a lot of fun navigating through that. And a lot of fun up the front with Skirley and Matty Ray. I love racing with those guys. Those guys pushed me. It was a good race.
It's probably a battle of traffic, if not so anything else. You managed to keep your car clean for the entire race. It looks like you just drove it off the dealership floor, but the leaders getting caught up. There's 5 or 6 cars there towards the end, just before that caution period, that really brought you back into that lead fight after you had jumped to the front of the trailing pack, and that just got you into the mix.
Yeah, and I will admit I did panic at the end there when the yellow came out, because I thought it was. I sort of counted my my chickens, as it were, the few laps left, and then the yellow went up, and I just went, oh god. And I'm like, I was asking Skirley for advice. I'm like, what do I do, man? What do I do? And he's like, oh, it's a tough one, but
toughest decision there is right there.
It was a very tough decision, and I don't have that experience yet to know what to do by myself. So I stayed out, and it paid off. So it was good fun. Good to get another win.
Oh, congratulations for that. And of course, Michael, you jumped into pit lane just at the end there, trying to freshen up the tyres after a little bit of a bump in the last part of that race. And I'll tell you what, there'll be new underpants in the driver's seat of your car after that little slalom right at the end there that managed to work out in your favour, but brought home second place.
Oh yeah, mate. Yeah, a few wet wipe stuff down there now, but
Early.
yeah, mate. No, it's Yeah, I wasn't sure. We didn't really get a chance to look at how many cars were actually a lap behind us. So I thought I thought if I pitted and no one else did, then I was going to be shuffled to the back. And I didn't realise that I was still in third when I come out. And then there was still 20 cars back before Dwayne Priest was even on the lead lap, same lap as us. So I was like, oh, Luke, you got this, man. You got a top 3 at least, easy, no matter what. And I thought the tyres I had were just going to run away with it. You know what I mean? But I put it around the first corner and I was like, a bit loose here, got under the apron. And I was like, man, I'm going to take this guy out. I didn't want to take him out. So it was surprisingly fast. I don't know how he held on to those tyres the whole race like that, but he did well. And we got 2 cranks in. We just need 3 cranks to get that happy ending. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it was a good run. It definitely some. You know what they say, 3 cranks and you're playing with yourself. But at the end of the day, it's still a good result for you guys at Crank Esports there. And Matty, on that note, move across to yourself. A really good, consistent night for you as well.
Yeah, we ran pretty good tonight. Truck had a good pace and kept it clean, so we're pretty happy with that.
And you must have thought at the end there that you had a really good chance of probably taking out the top spot.
I did right up until I drove into Skerlock's tail light, and then I lost power, and I thought, oh no, here comes Luke, and got caught up in lap traffic, and then yellow, and it's all over then.
We sort of thought you might.
The whole field.
Sorry, mate.
No, you're right. I didn't realise that. Was it just us 3 laps the whole field or something, did we?
There was only 5 on the lead lap at the end of it. Steve Williams got the lucky dog with the yellow flag, but other than that, it was yourself, the 3 of yourselves, and Dwayne Priest on the lead lap when we hit the caution period.
I should have put aim then probably. Nah, doesn't matter. We're happy with third, so.
Yeah,
you did well, Matty.
We thought.
I was holding you up there for ages, just trying to stay on the outside here, trying to hold you up, but it couldn't. Like, I knew eventually you were going to get me, but it was my mistake.
Nose under you, but yeah, if I had that high lane, I would have had you, no worries.
Yeah.
You put the wind up me when you came past. I said to Scully, as a guy, here comes Matty Raymond, he's making an entrance. Going for it.
I thought you must have pitted. I was like, you must have pitted to be going this quick.
I did get tyres when that, well, I don't know what lap that second caution was.
It was around lap 25.
Yeah, I got tyres then. So,
Okay, it makes me feel a bit better then, because I was like, oh man, this guy's unreal.
Once I got past there, I'm like, oh, I might be alright to hold him off here, because I thought you didn't get tyres, but I wasn't sure about Luke.
Yeah, there's a few traffic jams after that sort of slows down, eh? Mate.
Yeah.
There's plenty of traffic, that's for sure, but of course, sub-mile track, that's always going to be the case, and particularly with those cautions as well. I think we had half a dozen tonight, more than we normally get, but not taking anything away from you 3 gentlemen who drove really well throughout the evening to get the result. So once again, Trahair in first, we've got Skerlock in second, and Raymond in third. That'll have championship altering outcomes as well. Luke, we'll start with you, thanking your sponsors for this evening's second race win.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, of course, Virtual Motorsport Mentor. Again, I do race with Chris, but that's where my experience comes from prior to racing with Chris and a team, is him showing me the ropes. So Virtual Motorsport Mentor for anyone looking out to get some coaching. He's definitely one of the top guys around. I really do mean that. And of course, iRace Designs with our liveries. We couldn't be happier with them. They look incredible. The shine on those cars is great. So iRace Designs, you can check them out on Facebook and Instagram if you're looking for some good wraps. They do some incredibly good work. And just thanks to my team as well, because those guys push me like crazy. Love running with them every week. Skirly and Chris, especially in the oval stuff, we're doing good things and they're showing me the way.
And probably not to mention, Luke, as well, your bride to be, because since you got engaged, mate, 2 wins on the trot, so there's got to be something in the water as well, mate. That's caused that. So.
Part of it, yeah, you make a proposal and get engaged, and all of a sudden you're winning 2 in a row. So it's maybe I recommend it. Start proposing, guys, because the wins come.
it's a big trade-off to make, mate. Big trade-off to make. Michael, of course, obviously joining from the same team, but you want to give a shout out again to anyone special?
Yeah, well, obviously the 2 main sponsors there, Virtual Motorsport Mentor and iRace Designs. Can't do as good a job of what Luke just did for him, so I'll just leave it at that. Mummy and Daddy, mate, for making me exist out here.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting this on. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow! In terms of
course,
the
yes, Stu, for sure.
in terms of the callback for the old crank 2 times, mate, that there's plenty to say with that. But we'll roll on.
My dad didn't believe in that.
Yeah, well, we'll roll on a little bit more as things just continue to get a little loose here on a Monday night. Matty, what about yourself, mate?
Yeah, we got a few people. We got John down at Mobile Breaker Mechanical Repairs. He's good help to us, and Eric down at Silver Star Service Restoration. Scotty McLean Mechanical, Danny over at the Maid of Auckland Hotel, and a few others. KL Crash. And you guys are putting it on, of course. Oh, and a big shout out to me mate Chappie, who moved to Sydney not long ago.
Oh, Chappie, that's good. And good to hear some real businesses as well there. Not that the others that the guys have mentioned aren't real businesses. I mean, physical location businesses as well, getting a shout out and jumping on to esports sponsorship as well. So, along with delivery makers and obviously Chris at Virtual Motorsport Mentor, really good to hear a huge list of sponsors that we can give a shout out to on the broadcast. Guys, thanks very much for a race well run tonight. Really, really interesting. Probably the closest race so far this season. And we've thoroughly enjoyed bringing this one to everyone on board for this evening. Next week, we are heading out to Richmond. What are we expecting to see there, Skirley, if you can give us a rundown?
Depending on how the car feels on the night, whether it's day or night. Could be loose, could be tight. Hoping for the latter. Oh, no, sorry. Hoping for the first one. I don't like it tight. And awesome racing. One of my favourite tracks, so looking forward to it.
Heading out there next Monday night for 120 laps at Richmond, and that'll be here for you live on FGM eCast. We'll be back with you again on Wednesday as we bring you the first round of the AEE in GT Enduro Championship, where we head to Mount Panorama for a mixture of LMP2, GT3 and GTE category for the first event in that season. Before we are back with you next Monday evening. We're also doing Up Late Friday again for the first time in quite some time. So this Friday night from 9 p.m, join us for, it's probably easier to just say an adults only version of what we do here. Just some general banter and a little bit of gaming too. So planning to come here on FGM eCast, your E-Place for Pace. Carl, once and always, thank you very much for joining me on the stream tonight. Giving me a little bit of an education in all things oval track. And they'll see you on Thursday night as you jump back on board to bring the Cup Series live to the airways on... I can't remember the other streamer's name, so that's embarrassing. Thank you. On JP Simshed. Give them a shout out.
Just a quick one for the ANZCAR series. We have the ARCA series also running tomorrow night. Of course, that's the developmental series, and that's going to be running at Phoenix Raceway. So if you're looking to jump into the Oval Series and looking to make a start, that's a good place to start your career and get an idea of how these cars run on oval tracks.
Yeah, and if you are watching, you want to get involved, jump into that series. Still plenty of spaces available, and we want to really get that up and roaring. Sponsored, of course, by Virtual Motorsport Mentor as well. So jump on board where you can. If you've got nothing to do tomorrow night, jump on and have a run. A very inviting crew and very helpful to try and get you up to speed, and maybe one day you can jump into the trucks. So that's about it from us. FGM eCast, your E-Place for Pace. Thanks very much for tuning in on your Monday night. We'll see you again on Wednesday, and enjoy the balance of your week until then.
Very good. Thanks, Stu. Thanks, Carl.
So let's bring the grid up for you now and have a look at what we're going to see tonight.